as someone who lives with people with physical and mental disabilities, I know all too well the challenges of dealing with these individuals, namely the lack of support that you can get from them, because obviously, due to their vulnerabilities, they are so self absorbed into their own issues that obviously you can't rely on them to help you with anything, to support you, to care about you. So, in a way, living with disabled people and people with disabilities in general is a one-way relationship in many ways, because yes, of course, you have the physical company there, you can have a conversation with them, but obviously you can't really discuss anything serious because they are people with problems who are unable to look after anything. They can't even look after themselves, let alone do things for others or helping others. So it's been a very, for me, as I've always lived with this type of person, it's been a very isolating and demoralizing experience. Now, obviously, as you get older, you kind of understand things a bit better. You're more acceptant of the fact that there's a lot of issues in this world that don't have easy resolutions to, and you just have to accept it. That's the only way to move forward is to just embrace the reality of the situations and don't expect too much out of them. To change for the better. And that's the only way that I was able to kind of be more relaxed, because I was under so much stress and anxiety, because I felt like, why did I deserve this? Why don't I have more positive people around you? But ultimately, that doesn't help to improve or change the situation. So I had to stop talking that way or thinking that way and feeling negatively about myself, my place in this world, and my future as an adult. Obviously, me, I've been deeply impacted. I've experienced a lot of depressive moments where I felt isolated, uncared for, unlistened to, unvalued as a human being. So it's been very, very challenging and very, very difficult over the last 20, 25 years. But I had to kind of move forward with it and accepting that that was always going to be the case every day in my circumstances. Obviously, right now I'm living with adults who have mental health issues, who are isolated, who are unproductive economically, and they can become very hostile towards any other person around them, because they don't see any perceive they don't have any value for anything anymore, and they can't really perceive the good and the bad. So you have to deal with a lot of their emotional turmoils, self-absorbed uh, whining mindset, negativity that don't see anything good in others or in themselves. So it's a very, very challenging time to experience in life dealing with these types of people. And ultimately, life is too short. And I can understand certain people saying, you know what, these people should be cared for by specialists, doctors, or people who have medical knowledge of these types of cases, and they can separate themselves emotionally, because obviously if you're a relative of these people, you're not going to see them as just sick people. You're going to kind of have that emotional bond, and it's going to maybe cause you to feel distressed and upset. And that's where I realize how emotions, how they can sometimes work against you, because you want the best of that person, but ultimately that's not enough to make that person better, and that can always cause you to be upset and frustrated, and ultimately it can lead to a kind of a negative downward spiral mentally for the person who is directly in contact emotionally, as much as physically, with these family members. What can I say? There's no easy way out. The only thing is, if you can't cope, is to seek help, or potentially to leave the situation, because people with disabilities, then if there's not a pathway for them to really improve, they're always going to bring you that negative attitude every day. So my experience is to not become too emotionally involved with these people and try to keep a distance, because that's the only way not to be too adversely impacted. And I've learned that through experience. I mean, in life, sometimes you do need that experience to build that knowledge and wisdom on how to conduct yourself in life in certain situations. And that's all I can say is if you're dealing with disabled people who don't have anything going on with their lives anymore, the only thing is either to accept them as they are and embracing their negativity and accepting it, or leave it to the hands of somebody else because it's not going to work. It's not going to end well for you. It's going to most likely end you becoming, you know, developing issues yourself, mental issues and whatnot. So it's very important to be aware of that. And ultimately, I am definitely aware of it now after all this time that I've experienced the turmoil of living with such people. I'm well guarded and philosophical about it. That if medical professionals can help them, I am have to be humble enough to accept that I might not be able to help them to improve their circumstances, and that's fine. We're only human. We are not, we don't have godly powers. So you have to accept the reality of certain situations, and even if they're negative and you wish to see some better, it's not going to happen sometimes, and that's the way that life is. You have to accept a lot of things that are outside of our, you know, ethical, moral, and intellectual and social boundaries, and that's just how modern society and life as a human being in this world is. As a living being, you're gonna be hopeless to a lot of events that are outside of your control, and you just have to kind of accept that. And that's what I've done. So I'm much more calmer and philosophical, and just accept that sometimes in the negative situations, no matter what you hope to achieve or how you want to see them improve, they're not going to change for the better. Anyway, thank you, and let me know what your experiences of living with disabled people has been for you and how it's impacted your life. Has it made it worse, or have you been able to be productive, doing the things you want to do whilst living with these people? Thank you.